Hello and welcome to another Microsoft Word tutorial. In this tutorial we will be exploring some of the basic features of Microsoft Word. For example, if you are looking at your environment, there are some of the features like in the paragraph group we have this Q looking symbol which we call the ShowHide button in Microsoft Word environment, but it's basically the Pilcrow symbol. By clicking on it, it turns out so many formatting marks right within your screen. So just to test this, if I click on this ShowHide button, okay, any place where you're starting a new paragraph, it shows you that kind of a symbol. Some people who have been using these kind of tools from the 1980s, since the days of WordPerfect, they love to work with these tools. Others may or may not use them at times, but they're extremely useful in telling like section breaks, page breaks, which don't usually show up in the regular circumstances. So for example, if I had to type here a statement like date May 14, 2013. As I press enter, every time I press an enter, it shows me this ShowHide button showing this is a new paragraph. And you will also notice that between, whenever I hit a space bar, it puts a little period in between. So that's another thing that it does. So let's say if I press a backspace, it gets rid of the period that is placed between a colon and the letter M for May. And if I press tab right now, okay, it produces a little arrow-like symbol that represents that there is a tab in here. In the normal circumstances, if I turn it off, it won't show any of this stuff. And this is basically the ShowHide button, and this allows it to show our formatting marks. It's pretty much what it's used for. And if you click down, you don't even know how far you have your enter keys. But if I turn it on, and if I keep pressing enter here, okay, if this option is off, now I can't even tell if I'm sitting in this line how far my document is actually gone. But if this is on, I can say, oh, okay, I have these many extra paragraphs to get rid of, so I could use the backspace to get rid of all of these extra paragraphs. And this is a ShowHide button, and this is a toggle button because you could turn it on or turn it off. Okay, so let's say if I type here another statement, name, now what I want to do is I want to press enter twice. That will going to allow me to get all these extra lines between where it says name Samuel Anderson and the date. So I can see that with the help of the symbol that there are two extra paragraphs between the line name and where my insertion point is currently blinking. This is where I would like to type respected Mr. Samuel Anderson. And then I would like to press a few enter and then thank you, yours, so I'm just making up some kind of a template. So this is what I have written down here, and as you can see, there are several different paragraphs in between. Now what I want to do is I would like to change the alignment of this first line where it says date May 14, 2013. Currently the alignment is left, and you can also see in the paragraph group that the left alignment button is turned on. The one that is right next to it is center align, and the one that is right next to it, it's the right align. So if I click on the right align button, notice the date actually is right aligned right now. If I select this line, which has date May 14, 2013, and if I want to reduce the font size, here I have fonts. Here I have a font group, and here I have all the font sizes. So here I can go in number 11, and I would like to give it a font size of 10. On top of that, if I would like to also change the font face, I can click here and choose one of the fonts. Let's say if I would like to use this one. and that becomes the current font. I can turn it bold. I can italicize it. I can apply all these little different formats. Okay, and then I can turn on these so that I could see where my paragraphs are and everything else. Now, one more thing to look at is if I would like to insert a new line right above the date. So if I place my insertion point at the beginning of the line and press enter, you will notice the line or wherever you press enter, anything after the insertion point automatically goes to the next line. And if I press the up arrow key, I now have a new paragraph. And notice all the buttons that are lit on the ribbon. In the paragraph group, the right align button is lit. In the font group, the italics and bold buttons are lit. That means that is my current features. So if I click here in the right align and change it to a left align, that's one click. If I turn off the italicized and bold, that's another 2 clicks, a total of 3 clicks. Then if I change my font size to the default, which is 11, that's another click. So there's so many clicks that I would have to go through. Now in the styles group, we have something called normal. If I click the normal once, then it undo everything and takes me back to the default font size, default font name, default font options. So that's an extremely awesome feature that has been added in the recent versions of Word. Just click the normal option and everything goes back to normal. And as you can see, currently I've left align and all the other options are turned off. Okay. If I would like to change my alignment to center, for example, okay, and then I would like to give this a heading of personal letter to Samuel Anderson. Okay. Now if I select this, now notice this is also another thing that you have to keep in mind. Currently my insertion point is on the right hand side, so I must press down and go to the left. That will going to select everything from right to the left. Or I can do the opposite. I can start from left and go to the right. But sometimes people make mistake of starting from the center, going one direction, and then they want to go the other direction. And notice this is what happens. So you must always make sure that you start from one corner and go to the other. Now after I select this text, I would like to use one of the predefined styles. Now notice the styles group has these 3 special buttons. The middle button will allow you to go 1 row down. The top will going to allow you to go 1 row up. And the very last button that has an arrow and a bar on it, it's called the More button. If you click on it, it gives you all the possible options available in this, what we call gallery. The reason we call gallery, because each one of these boxes over here, right now the normal box is the one that is selected. Each one of the boxes is called a thumbnail, and usually thumbnails are in a gallery. So that's why the entire setup is called a gallery. So if I click here from this list, if I just simply bring my mouse over, it keeps telling me how things will going to look like. So if I would like to settle down for title, I click in title, and here it says personal letter to Samuel Anderson. But notice my right align option was now replaced with the alignment of this particular style title. But if I change my alignment now to right, it's not going to affect any of the other features being set by the title. So here are, with some of the differences, we have utilized the paragraph group, some of the features from the paragraph group. We have utilized some of the features from the font group. Now I would like to select the name Samuel Anderson, this portion, the Samuel Anderson. I would like to italicize the name, and I would like to bold the title name. Now one of the ways to select just a word, you could either select it like this, the way we have learned so far, or you can simply double click on a word. And if you double click on a word, the entire word gets selected, and now I can bold it. Okay. Now similarly, if you look at this line, respected Mr. Samuel Anderson, I want to select the entire paragraph. And a paragraph means from one Pilcrow symbol to another Pilcrow symbol. That's paragraph. And you could have a Pilcrow symbol that could probably go for 18, 20, 50 lines, you know, the size of the paragraph, whatever it is. So if you would like to select the entire paragraph, you quickly triple click in a paragraph, and that selects the entire paragraph. So if you give it a moment of time, they're not going to count it as triple click. So do click tick, tick, tick 3 times, and I'm going to select the entire paragraph. So now I would like to italicize this text, and I would like to change the font name, and at the same time I would like to give it a different color. So here is the list of my color. If I click on this one right away, the color that's shown underneath the letter A, that means this is the default color. So if I click on it, that will going to be the color of respected Mr. Samuel Anderson. However, if I want to give it a different color, I can click this list, and it gives me several different theme colors to choose from and some standard colors to look at. And as I hover over, move my mouse over these colors, I could see what it's going to look like. I can go under gradient, I can go under more colors. If I go under more colors, it allows me to choose one of the standard colors. It allows me to choose the custom colors. And when I'm choosing custom colors, they're usually the red, green, blue combination. Since I'm working with a shade of a red, that's why only the red is on, the other two are off. That means set to 0. So what I can do, first of all, I can choose a color, like here, for example. Okay, so it tells me this is your new color, that's your current color. And now I can choose the tone within my color as if I want to go to the lighter tone or the darker tone. And then similarly, I can just click OK here, and that will be the color that was being selected. So if I would like to increase the font size, I can do that here. So as I'm hovering over different sizes, it tells me how it will gonna look like in the final output. So this is where you can apply the colors, and this is how you can change the colors. Similarly, if you want your font size to be increased by just one, the next placement, whatever that is. For example, if you look at this font group, after 12 the next placement is 14, after 14 the next placement is 16. Similarly, after 28 the next placement is 36. So what you can do is, let's say if I want to increase the size of thank you to the next one, so right now it's 11. If I click on this A right up top, which means grow font, if I click on it once, it goes to 12. But if I click on it again, it goes to 14, not to 13, because in the drop-down box after 12, the next item is 14. So if I want to settle down for font size 13, what should I do? Simple as that. Click in the box, in place of 14, type 13, and press enter. As soon as you press enter, don't forget to press enter. As soon as you press enter, it will going to take those properties and we're going to apply it to the text. So always remember to press enter key whenever you are planning on giving it some kind of an intermediate font size which is not listed in the group. So that allows you to select your own font size. Now, what is a unit of measurement? The unit of measurement of the font size is points, usually written out as PT. Just like inches are written out as IN, centimeters are written out as CM. The points are written out as PT. So what is 1 point? 1 point is defined as 1/72 of an inch. What does that mean? That means 72 points equals to 1 inch. So in this drop-down box, where you see 72, that means currently my font size is 1 inch. If it says 36, that means my font size is half of an inch. If it says 18, that means my font size is 1/4 of an inch. Okay? If it says 9, that means my font size is 1/8 of an inch. So that's how this unit of measurement point is structured. So I have changed this font size for thank you to 13. Similarly, if I want to go down by 1, I can just simply click on the shrink font, and since the one before 13 is 12 in the list, we're going to jump to 12. So this is how you can shrink, or as well as you can grow the font. Similarly, if I would like to underline this name Samuel Anderson, I can simply click on U and that will going to underline. Or if I would like to give different underlining styles, I can click on the arrow and that pretty much allows me to choose whatever I want to choose in terms of the underlining style. So there are several different underlining options to choose from. As I am hovering over these options, it allows me to choose different underlining styles. So based on your however you want to use it, you can pretty much use the different underlining styles. So anyway, that was one more thing that I wanted to discuss here as we are talking about the topic of fonts. So we've talked about how you can change your fonts in terms of their sizes, their colors, their styles. By the way, these are all called font styles: bold, italic, underline, strike, subscript, superscript. These are all considered to be styles. And this is the font size, and this is the font face. We have also learned about how you can select text like single click, double click, triple click. Single click will only going to place your insertion point. This is called insertion point. The blinking cursor, technically speaking, in the Microsoft Word world, it is called the insertion point. Double click will going to select a word, and triple click will going to select the entire paragraph. Well, there are some keyboard shortcuts. If you can see somewhere in the top right hand corner of your keyboard, then you may find home and end. So if you click end, that will going to take you to the end of the line. If you click home, they're going to take your insertion point to the beginning of the line. So end, home, end, home. If I do control end, that takes me to the last line of the document, not to the page, but since this document has only one page, so it takes me to the bottom of the first page. Similarly, control home will going to take me to the beginning of the page. Once again, you first press down control, then you press down home, then you leave home, and then you let go of the control. So these are some of the shortcut keys that allows you to work around, just like we learned Control S, Control O last time we were here. So these are some other shortcut keys that you can work with. Similarly, let's say if I make a spelling mistake, let's say in the word thank you, I forget to write the letter A. So it automatically underlines it in red. That means I don't understand what you mean by THNK. What basically it means is whatever word you have typed is not in my dictionary. So sometimes what happens is, like for example over here I've typed first name, last name, and I know I will be replacing it with some kind of a name, but for now I'm just leaving it as it is, and I know it's not a spelling mistake. But however, this combination of first name and last name is not in the dictionary of Microsoft Word. But this word thank you probably is spelled wrong. So what I can do is I can simply right click on the word thank you, and it gives me some of the suggestions right up top. Think, thing, ting. So I can just choose whichever one I want to use. So that's one way to fix the problem. Okay. Now over here I would like to type another name here. Professor Jason Markson. So we would like to give that name. Now notice as I fixed all the red lines over here in this corner, you can see the book has now a check mark, as opposed to this is how the book was with a little X on it. And this is how the book has become with a little check on it. So that means everything looks good. Now also, to the left of it, it tells you the number of words. There are 22 words currently being typed. If I click on it, it gives me the other set of details, the number of pages, the words, the characters with and without spaces, paragraphs, and lines. On top of that, here I have page 1 of 1, which is currently tells me you only have one page, and you're currently on the first page out of 1 pages. So that's one more way. Let me make some more spelling mistakes here. For example, let me drop O in personal, and let me drop P in respected, and let me once again get rid of an S in professor. Okay, and let me type in a name which is misspelled. I forgot to write B in Jacobson. Okay, so I've made some mistakes. Instead of going to each individual mistakes and fixing them up, we can simply go to the Review tab and we can start the spelling and grammar. And as you can see, the shortcut is F7. So you can simply press the function key F7 located right up top on your keyboard. So as you press F7, here we go. it starts. Wherever your insertion point is, that's where it starts from. So let me escape out of here. So since my insertion point was all the way to the bottom, that's where it started from. If I put my insertion point right up top here, and then I press F7 or spelling and grammar, either we're going to start. Or I can simply click on this book. That'll also going to take care of this stuff, but only one thing at a time. So let me press F7 to start the process. It says, this is the first error I found. It highlights the error and says, I think the right word should be personal. Then I can say, okay, click change. Okay, then it says the next error I found is the word professor. This probably is the right spelling, and click change. And then it tells me, you type Jacobson. Either change it to Jacobson or change it to Jackson. For example, if there was a name Jacobson and it's not in the dictionary, I have two options. Either I can add it to the dictionary, but in that case, it will only be added to the dictionary on this computer. And from this point onwards, wherever I'm going to type Jacobson, only on this computer, it'll going to understand it to be a valid entry, provided it must be typed with an uppercase J. If I say ignore, then I'm only going to ignore it for now. But if I ever make any changes to this document, I'm going to start complaining again that the following word is not found in the dictionary. So I'm going to simply click add it to the dictionary. Okay, it says this is the information that I have about your document. I said click OK. Just to test to see if it really understands Jacobson, I'll type Jacobson. Now it doesn't complain. So it understands Jacobson is valid. Let me type Jacobson, Jacobson. Now it doesn't understand Jacobson in lowercase because it complains about the case. So this is how you can be adding a word to your dictionary, and you can be building your own dictionary within your document, within your version of Microsoft Word that you have installed on your particular computer. So this is how you can be looking at some of that stuff. Sometimes what happens is, when we're typing a word, we don't really know if the word that I have written out over here, like resected. So I right click on it, and I go under synonyms. It's like, okay, resected. You didn't give me any errors, but what does that mean? It says, I don't know. I don't have any suggestions for you. Okay. However, I would say, I would like to look this up in Carta Dictionary. And it comes back and say, well, resected simply means it's a transitive verb. It means surgically remove part of something. So it's actually a valid word. That's why I didn't highlight it correctly. It doesn't make sense. So I'd like to replace it with respected. So this probably could happen, that you have misspelled. However, the misspelled word is also a valid word, so I'm not going to highlight it. So now I would like to double click or right click on respected and go under synonyms. Now it tells me, well, respected means appreciated, valued, esteemed, treasured, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay. I said, well, I think instead of respected, because it looks very formal and I don't have that kind of formal relationship with this guy, I would like to change that to the word dear. So as I click in dear, now it replaces respected with dear. It's an extremely awesome tool. Sometimes when you're writing up statements, you're like, oh, let me see if there are other better words out there for the word that I've just typed, and you can use the synonym feature, and I'm going to take care of that. And as you have noticed, we also took care of the lookup. Whenever we do lookup, it basically turns on the research button in the review tab. Okay, it doesn't matter if you click research or thesaurus, always it will going to open up the research pane. So even if I click thesaurus, it still opens up the research pane. So research pane is the pane that is used by thesaurus as well as the research option. And you can see down in the list, you can be doing your search in Carta Dictionary and English Assistance, thesaurus, French, Spanish, translations, Bing, and the list goes on and on. So you can also be doing translations from one language to the other. So that's also something that is doable within this environment. So that basically are some of the topics that I wanted to cover in this tutorial. I would like to cover some more topics in the next tutorial, such as how do you go about adding headers and footers to your document, how do you go about adding graphics to your document, and how to set things up for printing purposes, the cut, copy, paste, inserting symbols, splitting of the windows, and things of those nature. But we're going to leave that to the next tutorial. That's all for now for this tutorial. Have a good one.